Greetings. Welcome to the Speaking CPR weekly live stream series. I'm Michael Davis, founder of Speaking CPR. I'll be your host as always. And the idea here is every week on a Friday toward the end of the day, at least Eastern time here in the States, is to have a conversation with you about some different speaking, presentation, and story ideas. Not to overwhelm you with a long workshop. We're going to do about 15 to 20 minutes. You can feel free to join me. Just join me here live with speakingcpr.com. As I always like to say, that's not live with speakingcpr.com. You don't want to live with me. You just want to hear what I have to say, hopefully. All right. Now, the idea today, and I really enjoy cooking. It's very relaxing. Although I'm the worst eater in the world, I speed through every dinner. I do like cooking for my family. It's a way for me to relax, listen to some music, podcast, whatever. And I had this idea for July that I'm going to share some ideas with you about how to put better ingredients into your presentations. And today the idea is to add 3 key ingredients to add spice to your virtual presentations. So to start, imagine that I've invited you over to my house. You're going to have some dinner with me and my family. We have some great conversations, a little bit of wine. And the next thing you know, I bring out a few bowls. The first one has some plain cooked pasta. The second one has some leafy greens. And the third has cooked but unseasoned chicken. What are you thinking at this point? Other than, well, is this guy just a cheap SOB? Well, you may be thinking that. I don't know. You may be thinking, is something missing here? Absolutely. If I were just to serve these 3 types of dishes to you and nothing else, it's going to be plain, quite forgettable. It won't stick with you. Yes, it gives sustenance, but that's about it. It will not leave a lasting memory. Other than that, maybe I'm cheap. In order to make this a more enjoyable experience, I need to bring out some sauce, some cheese, maybe a little bit of meat or meatballs or some kind of side dish. If you're not a meat eater, one of these substitutes, whatever. It's going to make for an enjoyable spaghetti, pasta dish, a dish. I need to bring out some additional vegetables, maybe some avocado, some pita chips, and a really good salad dressing or a choice of dressings to make for a memorable salad. And with the chicken, we want to add some steamed vegetables, maybe some steamed peppers, anything, some garnishment, some accoutrement, as my French mother would say, to add to this dish to make it memorable, tasty, and something that creates a great memory for you. That's what we need to do with a lot of our stories. A lot of people that I talk to bring stories to me in presentations that are good material, but it's not memorable. It's delivered in a way that's dull. There's nothing there that brings me into their stories, into their experiences that make me feel like I'm part of it. So what you're going to hear today are 3 ideas on your virtual presentations to make those more memorable, more sticky, and make people want to stay from the beginning to the end. Now, keep in mind that anytime I talk about stories in this, whether it's virtual presenting, live, humor in presentations, I'm going to emphasize business stories. I know there are all kinds, but a lot of people who hire me, it's for business purposes. Most of these ideas are transferable to other situations, though. So the first key is you want to stand up when you do your virtual presentations, whenever possible. Now, I get it. When the lockdown first happened, 18 months ago, people had to use what they had, kitchen table, areas of their apartments, their homes. I get it. You may still be in that situation. However, whenever possible, you want to stand up. And here, there are 2 main reasons for this. Number 1 is it gives you more energy. I know when I'm coaching, when I'm presenting, if I'm seated at my desk, I don't have the same kind of energy level. I can see it on the recordings. I tend to be fidgety. That's just my style and how my nervous system is wired. But I know that I think better as a coach. As a speaker, I can be more present. I feel like I know I have more attention when I have a gallery view in front of me. That's because I'm standing. it gives me more energy. The second reason why I think it's important is because it allows me to move. Movement can be critical. I was listening to a podcast recently about recent brain research that's been done. Our brains are much more effective, much more creative when we have the ability to move. Our earliest ancestors, before we had all this technology and transportation, they did a lot of walking to get from place to place. First of all, it was healthier for them. It was healthier for their brains. Brains were more creative. They thought better. That movement is important, and you're going to hear about another advantage of that in just a moment. Again, if you'd like to join me here live with Speaking CPR, happy to have you join me. Where did that go? There it is, livewithspeakingcpr.com. Go to that site. It'll help you. It'll allow you to join me here on the call if you have any questions, or if you would like to join me and just have a little bit of a discussion about these topics. All right, so the first tip is to stand. And oh, by the way, one of the challenges with standing, if you do it a long time on a flat surface, it's not good on the body. So I'm going to step out of the frame for just a second and show you one of my most valuable tools that I use. Best $98 I've spent in a long time. This is a standing pad. That standing pad, and you don't want just one flat. Now, this is some kind of rubberized material, but you'll notice there's a hump here in the middle. There's a groove here. It's up on the sides. It's inclined. What this allows me to do is constantly move my feet so that my legs don't get tired. Bottom line is my hips, my knees, and my back feel much better. When I first started doing virtual presentations 4 years ago, I would do 1 and 2 day events. And by the end of the first day, I was in misery. I was so uncomfortable. And then I had to do it a second day. Somebody suggested these standing pads. Again, I wasn't joking when I said it's the best $98 I've spent, because I would have spent, by this point, thousands of dollars in chiropractor bills if I hadn't. I can do 2 and 3 day events now, and I have no problem standing for long periods of time because of the standing pad. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments box, and I'll send you over a list of recommended resources I have, and the standing pad is on there. All right, number 1 is standing. That's the first key ingredient to your virtual presentations, a tasty and memorable virtual presentation. Second one is use your space. A lot of folks I've noticed in the virtual world are staying stuck in one place when they present. You don't have to do that. And it hurts you. I've talked about it in other live streams. And if you've seen any of my tips, one of the biggest mistakes we can make is, well, actually one of two: be a talking head. Just talk to the camera the whole time and never move, or hide behind our slides. Just pull the slides up, talk behind them so nobody has to see you. You can't see me shaking my head because I'm neither of those is a good strategy. You want a combination of both. You'll notice here, and I use StreamYard for this live streaming, is I'm constantly moving between slides. And that's because our audiences today are used to that. We need to change it up. They get bored if they just stare at us or our slides. We need to mix it up with not only slides and visions of us or seeing us. We need to do polls. We need to get them involved in chat boxes, etc. But from a physical standpoint, if you're going to be in front of the camera, you got to use that space. And most people think, well, how can I do that? Because I'm anchored in front of the camera. Again, I realize some people don't have the luxury that I've had of having create a studio, but you can go, first of all, dramatic pause. What's he going to say next? You can go side to side. We talk about this a lot in storytelling. When you're telling stories and you're doing some type of timeline, what you want to do is go from your audience's left or the camera's left to right. So I talk, one of my favorite stories to tell is how I was in first grade and I got in trouble for standing on a desk, and I was punished by being made to stand on a desk. So I'm going back in time. I'm 6 years old. And as I progress through my journey, I talk about being afraid to stand in front of people in elementary school, in high school, even my young adulthood. I'm going through time, and you see how I'm going from left to right. And I can take it all the way to present day, which could be here, Or if I want to use the future can be all the way here over to your right. Most people look at timelines from left to right. So you can go side to side. You don't have to stay anchored right here. In fact, I recommend to people often start off center. It's different and it immediately captures people's attention. They don't even know why most of the time. Something in them says, oh, this speaker's different. It's because you're standing off center. Now, the second tip on as far as side to side, and you're a pretty smart audience, I'll bet you can guess what it is. Front to back. This is another effective tool. And in storytelling, it's effective for two reasons. Number one, front to back allows you to use this as a timeline also. You can talk about being back in 1998 or 2010. And then as you progress through time, you can step forward to the audience. So that is one way to do it. My preferred reason to use front to back, though, is from emotional standpoint. Let's say I'm talking about something that happened back in 2010. I can actually go at an angle to go back in time. And let's say in 2010, I had some pretty big life changes. I went through a divorce and a bankruptcy. So that was not the best of emotional times for me. So I'm stepping away from the audience to create some emotional distance. That sends a signal to them that, okay, something here didn't feel right. And as I progress through time, I can step closer to the audience to denote that things are getting better. My life is better. My emotions are improving. So that is a way to use your floor space to show time and front to back. So those are the two dimensions. And there's actually a third, which is you can actually use the height. I'm not going to do it here because I don't have my stool. But when I talk about being in first grade standing on a desk, I actually step on a stool to show that I'm on this desk looking down at my classmates. So the key idea here is you are not stuck in the middle of your speaking area. What can make this even more powerful for you, and this is a critical component when I teach people live presenting, is using the PowerPoint. And by PowerPoint, I do not mean that spot on the your slides. What I'm talking about is the spot on the floor. The PowerPoint, in most cases, is front and center. This is where you want to make your key points to your audience. You may have heard a story that I'm working on. It's called Full Throttle. It's about the time I had an opportunity to actually drive a real race car at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and also the Kentucky Motor Speedway. I mean, real race cars. These things were impressive, fun, and dangerous. There was a lesson that I learned from these experiences that had to do with, long and the short of it, my experience in the car was that for the first couple of laps, I was keeping my foot on the brake and didn't realize it because I was so intimidated. Well, the spotter, the person who was watching me drive around to make sure I was doing everything correctly, said, you need to take your foot off the brake and step on the gas and go full throttle if you want to get the most of this experience. Well, that to me served as a metaphor. That's how I was living my business life and my career. I was not going for it. I wasn't fully committed. So when I tell this story, I talk about being in the car back here. And when I share the lesson, I step forward and say, here's what I learned. If I want to get the most out of my career and live the life that I envision, the one I dream of, I got to take my foot off the brake, step on the gas, and go full throttle. I say that right here, front and center. That movement is a subconscious message to the audience that, hey, this is important. I can talk back here, make some points, tell some stories. And then when I step forward, they're thinking, okay, I better pay attention again because this must be important. He stepped forward. They don't consciously think that. Subconsciously, they get it. This is important. Pay attention. So that the number one spice, and one way to add spice to your presentations virtually is to stand up. Number two is use the floor. You've got space, use it. The third way to add spice is to use your face. This is the one delivery tool, I say that in quotes, the delivery tool we have that we often misuse or underutilize. It's more important today when we're speaking to a camera, because for the most part, people can't see our bodies. I know if I step back, you can see my waist up. You can see my hands. But most people aren't doing that. They're not stepping back here. They're up here. So we can't see the body. We need our faces to portray a lot of the energy and emotion that people can no longer see. That's the first challenge. Second is lighting. Think about virtual presentations, Zoom calls that you've been on recently where someone was speaking and you couldn't see that person's face. They were in the dark. That still happens today. I call that the witness protection effect. Not good. That's not very helpful for you. The second idea is that the fuzzy camera also does not let us clearly see your face. Now, why is this important? Again, we can't see the rest of your body. Your face needs to show. We need to connect with something, and that is your face. This is true on stage too, but it's even more so because we're not getting the whole neck down effect. We need your face to connect with us. And here's the key point about the face. It must be consistent with your message. There has to be a consistency between what you're saying and how your face is portraying that. A couple of quick examples, and I'm only slightly exaggerating when I do this. I will see people talk about, let's say, getting a promotion. I get called into my boss's office and I was really concerned. And then he said, I want to congratulate you. You've gotten the promotion. You were out of 6 applicants. You were clearly the best. I was so excited. Really? That's interesting. First of all, you said you were nervous going into your boss's office. I didn't see it here. And when you were excited, didn't see it here either. If you're going to portray a scene or relive some emotional experience, we've got to see it in your face. If not, we're not going to buy it. I mean, if you were really scared or nervous, let your face show that. You're not being an actor, by the way. You're just reliving something you've already gone through. Your nervous system already knows it. If you were excited, let your face show it. All right? We need to see that. That consistency is what gets us to buy into your message and your story. And if you don't do it, we're going to quickly forget it because something inside of us in the back of our mind is going to say, something doesn't feel right here. Not sure what it is, but I'm not buying the story. So make sure that your face is consistent with your message. And how do you do that? Here's your bonus tip. Nobody likes this one. Record yourself. Make sure that you record every presentation you do. Now, that's not where you're going to get your growth, by the way. The growth will come from watching it. You got to watch it. And I know what you're probably saying. Oh, Michael, I hate the way I look on camera. I hate the way I sound. I just don't like it. If that's your thought, I'll share with you the wisdom of my dear friend and mentor, longtime mentor, Darren LaCroix, who, when I said that to him 19 years ago, his response was, oh, really? You don't like hearing yourself? That's too bad. Guess what? We had to watch you. We had to listen to you. It's a great line. It's very funny, but there's a hard truth behind it. If we're not willing to watch ourselves and listen, how can we ever ask someone else to with a straight face? We've got to be willing to do that hard work, but I promise you it's worth it if you do it. That is the fastest way to grow. All right. If you would like to take your understanding of virtual presenting to a deeper level, if you'd like to take a deeper dive, I have a complimentary report for you. It's called Stop Zoom Burnout Now. There are 34 keys to keep your online audience engaged. I'm going to put this link in the chat box or in the comment box, but you just go to bit.ly/burnout report and sign up for it there. No cost or obligation to you. If you'd like to speed up this process of your virtual presentation skills, set up an introductory call with me. If you are into QR codes, I will leave this up for a second. You can grab your phone, you can scan the QR code, just set up a 20-minute call with me. Happy to have that conversation with you. Again, I'm not going to put any kind of pressure on you, no cost or obligation, just a chance for us to have a dialogue and see where maybe you're struggling with your virtual presentations. I will put this link in the chat box also. I need to get rid of that banner too, so you can see that. There we go. bit.ly/introductory20 call. All right, with that in mind, let's see if I have any questions in the comment box here. Very happy to share, Fadwa. Steve, very happy to share. When I listen to my video recordings, I sound like my uncle, says LinkedIn user. Now, what we don't know, we need context. Is that good or bad? Either way, that's good that you're listening. If you want to sound like your uncle, that's good. Keep doing it. If not, now you know you need to adjust. Absolutely great to see that. And I'm going to put those two links here in the comment box. There they are. If you want the introductory call, and the Zoom burnout report is there also. All right, I'm going to let you go here. I'm going to close out with a couple of thoughts. Number one, the three key ingredients are stand up when you present. It just gives you more energy. Second, use your space. You've got space, left, right, front, back, even up and down. That creates more energy, more liveliness to your stories, and it helps you be more realistic in your recreations. And number three, we need to see your face. This is the great sales tool. See, I'm making the mistake right now of having my face shrunk when I say that. We need to see your face. Let us see it, because that's how you're connecting with us. It's the one element we still have in this virtual world where all the other senses are tuned down. We need to see that to make that connection. All right, point made. Here's what I promise you. If you take just these three ideas, and there are many more, as I mentioned in my report, you've got 34, and there are even more than that, but just take these three basic ideas, and you will start to turn those virtual presentations that are somewhat bland. Yeah, they'll fill us up, but there's not a lot of taste to them, and they're not memorable, and it's not something people want to repeat. You do that, take these tips and do that, and you will turn your next presentation into more like a tasty meal that people enjoy. They want to stay from start to finish, and they want to experience again. Again, if I can help at all, set up a call with me. Happy to chat with you. If you like that free report, go ahead and download that. I wish you the best of fortune in your virtual presentations. I will not be able to do a live stream next week because I'm in a 2-day event with one of my clients, but the week after we'll pick back up. And memory escapes me. I think we're going to just talk about overall presentation skills, whether you're live or in person, on camera. 3 new ideas to give more taste. 3 key ingredients that will make your presentations more tasty, more enjoyable, and more memorable. Talk with you in 2 weeks.